Welcome back. If it's Kenyatta University, then you know it's definitely keeping you updated all around and making you an all-round person. So that has been a lecture that has been happening right here on KUTV. At this point, I want to shift your mind or to shift your thoughts from class and now back to business. In this generation, we are in a generation where most of the time the balance between faith and the conversations of faith and money, we rarely talk about them. If you're in social media, in the recent days, you've seen various clips of different church leaders talking to young people, some telling them that, you know, there is no heaven, some telling them that Christianity is not about God doing you favors, you need to put the work, others telling the congregation that, you know, I became rich not because of God, some telling Christians that most poor people are in church. Some even go ahead and saying that the churches are wasting time for the rich. So what exactly is happening when it comes to money? What does this how does this shape the mind of young people in terms of, I want to go to church, but then going to church is somehow termed to be foolishness. So what is the balance? What is the line between foolishness and faith? How do we trust in God in this? To some, money is the root of all evil. To others, money is a sign of God's blessing. So what is the balance between the two? Joining me this morning is Pastor Benjamin, who has worn both uniforms. He's at the pulpit and also in the business world. So he'll be helping us understand more about that, and we'll also be joined by a young mind who will also be helping us understand what exactly are the youths thinking about when it comes to conversation dealing with the money, financial resilience, and faith. Allow me to allow the guests in studio introduce themselves to you. Let me begin from you, Pastor. Karibu sana. Thank you for making time for us.
Thank you so much, Madam Sylvia. Thank you for having me this morning. I'm happy to be here, and I believe that by the end of this talk, we'll have many minds which will be transformed, and we'll have created awareness in the mind of the many young people concerning what is the place of faith, let's say in business, what is the place of faith, what is the place of God in money creating and all that. It is true that nowadays many people think that it is just their own effort. They make it through their own effort, but there is a place of God in everything that we do. In the blessings, in the world that we get, there is the place of God. There is the place of human being. You as man, you have got your place. God has got his own place. Thank you.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Yes.
So thank you very much. My name is Elijah Momo. I'm so happy to be here. Concerning this topic, I believe it's going to be an eye-opener to many youth. I believe it's going to be transformative because there are a lot of myths and untruths, or rather falsehoods around there concerning why, if at all, you need to relate yourself with faithful groups and associations like churches. So I believe it's going to really open people's minds to understand the truth about what you are going to discuss today.
All right. Now that we're still at you, Elijah, let's show the truth or tell our perspective on the myths of success. Currently, young people are obsessed about building a community online.
Yes.
And thinking that the more likes I get, that means I am doing well, or the more people applaud me for what I'm doing, that means I'm successful. So putting away social media and external validation, what does the success mean to you as a person?
Success, first of all, starts with having a purpose. And purpose comes from having a vision. So one would sit and ask himself or herself and say, what do I need to achieve in life, aside from getting the likes on social media? That aside, once you identify where you need to be, you need to see what steps do I need to achieve. So that is where success comes in. What steps do I take to achieve what I want to achieve? And the achievement will come from the discipline in following those steps. So that would be my definition of the source of success in anyone's life: finding purpose from vision and following, making steps to going to achieve the set objective. Yes.
This is something that I'm sure most people have relate. They're like, if I'm successful, it needs to be seen. Someone will want, I need to be driving this kind of car. My apartment needs to be looking this and this way. But from where you sit, Pastor, allow me call you Pastor through the show.
No problem.
All right, from where you sit, is it that young people want things moving so fast compared to those who are ahead of us? Because you'll hear a young person saying that their definition of success is not how he has defined it, having purpose. The definition is a little bit different. Is it that we are moving so fast and we are lacking that resilience? Because these days you'll hear someone quit their job because they just say that it's not good for my mental health, and probably they say that environment is toxic. If it's on matters relationship, someone will say that that person is so nonchalant, that person is manipulative. There are these words that are coming up and they're making young people give up on things very fast. Is it that the young people are lacking resilience to keep pushing forward, or is it that they just not ready to waste time?
Well, thank you. I don't think that they are not ready to waste time, because the life that our young people are living now, it's a quick life. Quick life. I think some people call it like a microwave life. You want something instant. Like in the old times or the older generation, there is a process. It is a process. Life is a process. Whatever you do is a process. Even becoming wealth or becoming rich, becoming successful, it is just a process. And what my brother just said, being successful is not having so much wealth, a lot of money, big houses, big vehicles. To me, success is discovering the purpose of God in your life and fulfilling it. When you fulfill what God has called you to do, is now that I can say that you're in the path of success. Now, to our young people, is that they don't want to wait for the process. They don't want to go through the process. Therefore, it's not this toxic, the life and all that. There's nothing like that in the older generation. You have to work. You have to make things work. You have to manage the situations which are there, as it were, for the things to be able to happen. Therefore, our young people does not have patience. They need to have patience. They need to know what is the place of God in their lives. What is the place of God in the things they are doing? If it is the business, if it is say in the marriage, what is the place of God in their lives? But now, because of compulsion, because of wanting things very fast, now it is bringing our people to that kind of the thinking and the mentality that they have, that I need to have this no matter the means. Some may even go to an extent of using means which are not godly, as long as they achieve the cloud chasing. I think that's the kind of young people that we have. But I would like to urge them, there is a place of God in their lives in whatever they do. There is the place of God in whatever they do, and the place of the man or human being in whatever they do.
All right.
Yeah, actually, I think I can add on that. When having likes on social media or the following on social media, people tend to forget that you lose yourself somewhat in some aspect, because from that you gain, or rather you find yourself deep in depression for some people, because whenever you're following something that is on the line of I need to get this attention from people, you tend to not focus on building yourself. You tend to please them, so you get into depression, and I think that is what is causing a lot of youth to lack the resilience that is needed, because they end up losing it midway. So I believe once somebody finds himself, what do I need myself? What do I want to do to achieve in life? Then follow that trajectory. I believe it can solve a lot of things and even increase the resilience among the youth. Yes.
All right. I love that. Success being defined by purpose. Now, Pastor, help us help the young people, me included. Because how do you balance the narrative, the societal narrative, that, you know, to be successful, you don't need to be religious? And I've heard people saying that, you know, if you're too religious, then you're a red flag. How do you balance that? If we look at the society also, the people we consider successful, we don't see them like going to church or being religious and sort of that. We'll just hear them talking about God, you know, I pray to God and all that, but then you'll not hear them being religious. How do you balance this urge to make it, but then this pressure of I don't want to call it foolishness, because it's not foolishness, this pressure from the society that if you're too religious, that means you're too desperate, or there's something that is lacking in you and you're finding religion to cover up for that. How do you avoid this getting into you?
Thank you. I think one thing our young people should be able to understand is that, as I'm saying, is the place of God in their lives. The success they want to run onto is materialistic, is on what you see, what you can touch, comparison. I saw the other day so and so with this vehicle, I just want a vehicle like that. I visited somebody, I saw the kind of the house maybe he or she has built, I need such a house. But being so materialistic. And also remember, this success, it comes from God. It is God who gives. The word of God tells us that it is God who gives us the power to create the wealth. Now, when you start getting rich and getting wealth, at times as a human being, we forget where we started. We forget the blesser. Now we start focusing so much on the blessings, we forget the one who blesses. Mm-hmm. Therefore, we need to know that it is God who blesses people. And another thing, remember that when the children of Israel, God wanted them to have a king. Initially, God wanted to be their king. He wanted to rule them. He wanted to guide them. But there came a time that the children of Israel, they demanded another king. And though it wasn't the wish of God for them to have another king, He allowed them. Because also our God is a just God. He gives us the free will to choose. You make a decision what you want. Mm-hmm. You want left, you want right. You want life, you want death. He gives us that free will to choose. Now, when they went ahead, they chose another king, their first king, who tormented them, who tortured them. He wasn't the right king. Until God intervened again, he was removed and all that. Even us, when now we get blessings, we get this wealth, we get money, we tend to forget our God. So I would like to urge our young people, as we would decide to have that good life, may we remember there is also God. God created us for a purpose. This wealth He gave us to enjoy. He gave us this money that they can help us to fulfill His purpose. Mm-hmm. He gives us the whatever that we have, that it is enabler. These finances, these cars, or the houses, it is an enabler for us to be able to achieve the purpose of God. What is the purpose of God? We make Him to be known to the whole world, to many more people. We live for Him. There is a standard life God has given us as the human race, whether we are young, whether we are old, whether you are rich or we are not rich. That kind of the holy life, the righteousness that God calls us into. And as we worship Him, how I wish I can see those young people parking V8s outside the church, getting to the church, worshiping, forgetting about their properties, forgetting about the V8s they have, and now they lie down worshiping this God. I believe He will then bless them even the more. Mm-hmm. Therefore, the problem with our young people is that once we start getting blessings, we forget the blesser. We need not to forget Him. We need to always remember His position in our finances that we do, in our business and everything that we do. We need to remember there is one who blesses us, and we don't get interrupted by the social media. This kind of sometimes you see in the social media, that's not their life. The people who are always floating those flashy lives and all, it is not their life. Mm-hmm. They just they want those likes. And the more we are giving them the lights, we are giving them more money. That's the thing. So they're in business, they are making money, and now we try to copy them, which is not, I would say, is not good. Let's be gone fearing rich young people.
All right, I heard someone say that, you know, people don't post their failures, they only post their successes.
Sure.
Yes.
And now let's talk about something that most people fear talking about. And let's just call this black tax, because it is something that mostly pulls the young people behind. I stand corrected. It's something that pulls young people behind when it comes to development. As a young person, as you grow in your active years, that's the time you're told this is the time you need to make more investments, you need to do this, do that, for yourself, for your kids, for your rainy days, or for when you are tired. But now it comes a time when you have to be generous. And let's call it how it is. There is that black tax. Now you want to balance between being generous and also building a foundation for yourself to become successful, saving up for a business, or saving up profits to enlarge your business, to upscale your business. So how do you balance, let me begin from your perspective, Elijah. How do you balance this between being generous and also saving up for yourself to build a stronger foundation for yourself, for that, so that when you're older, you have built massive wealth or richness?
Yes. So first of all, for any youth, the youthful stage is a foundational stage in life. So once you understand that, you'll get to see where do I want to reach? What kind of wealth do I need to get? And so once you understand where you want to be, then I believe you'll have to organize yourself. You'll have to organize yourself in a way. If it's matters finances, you would have to see to what percentage or at what percentage am I allocating this and this and this to. If it's my needs, how much can I consume? Actually, it's a conversation that is being harbored a lot by a lot of youth, but it's something that is very important, because just waking up every day and not knowing how you're going to spend your money, at the end of it all, it's going to be a waste. So let's just get over it and organize ourselves. Let's see. Yes, I have my parents at home who need this and this and this, because I've started earning and it seems that I have to return some amount back to them. Create a funding model, or rather a percentage from what you earn, because after all, you still have to give back to them for what they've been doing to you since you were a little kid. And after that, what you are left with, now you need to sit down and say, the kind of, do I need to be, what kind of business do I need to own in the future, or what kind of job do I need to get in the future, so that maybe for that job to be achievable, what skills do I need to fund myself with, what skills do I need to fund myself with, so that I can be able to get that job. So it all requires organizing yourself, budgeting to see, yes, how much can I save in these finances that I have. If your budgeting, or rather if your needs only allow you to save 10%, save the 10%. If maybe you are somebody who doesn't spend a lot, maybe 20% is your saving index. So I believe once you get all that done, you're good to go. Yeah.
Pastor, does generosity hurt your financial stability?
Thank you. I think I'm a victim of this. And maybe people may misunderstand me, but I'm getting to a point of you need to limit how generous you're going to be. I wish I knew from a long time. I think it is just beginning of this year that I was just praying and telling God, like, I think God help me just to be bad a bit. It's quite funny, but that help me to know how to say no to some financial requests. It can really hurt. Yes, it can hurt. The reason is that one characteristic of money is that it is scarce. It is scarce. It's never enough. Therefore, you have got your own needs for the family. Those who have got family. Even if you don't have a family, you have got your own needs. You have got Now, you need to save for the rainy day. You need to create your own an emergency fund, which can enable you to have that financial resilience now we are talking about. Then if you are too generous, it will affect you, because it will affect, they may leave you with no savings. You may leave you without being able to fulfill all your financial needs just because you want to be generous. Being generous, it is good. Last Sunday, we are there with the FSKU, giving food to the street families. It was a good thing. And of course, it brings blessings. Although I'm saying, you can limit, but remember that generosity that you have, it brings blessings. There is a way, especially where are you being generous? Where are you helping? Let's say if you're helping the orphans, the widows, you can really get blessings from God. But as my brother just said about the saving, then you also need to budget on that. I think this is where now budgeting comes in. You have to budget. You need to budget your needs, maybe your savings, emergency fund, and maybe for being for helping or being generous to other things. You need to do that.
All right. So saying no is a skill that as a young person you need to develop. But then, are there, apart from being too generous with your finances, are there other financial mistakes? Because you've mentioned budgeting, lacking a budget, and you've mentioned being too generous. Are there other mistakes that people it may not be a young person, but probably an older person, that they make with regard to their finances that hinders them from achieving that financial stability?
Yes, there are. For instance, after you finish school, that the way you appear together, and you may, after some time, maybe 5-10 years, you meet your classmates, you'll find in the social status you are at different levels. There are some who have been blessed more than the others. Maybe some got good jobs, better jobs. Maybe some entered into business, they're prospering very well. Therefore, when you meet, you may start comparing yourself with the other people. And if you are not careful, you may want to, the spirit of competition may just come upon you. You want to be like so and so, you want to be on the house like so and so. Now you start entering into borrowing, into loans, into debts, just to fill up the gap, to fit. So I would say that let every person run his or her own financial race. Therefore, entering into debts, loans, is a mistake which can cause financial stress upon you. Also, maybe impulse buying, things you don't plan for, they can also cause you to enter into that. So we need to check on those areas also.
From experience, do you have other things that you think that people make as mistakes when it comes to their finances?
Yeah, I would say it's the negative side of budgeting. That's living beyond your means. Like you see that, I need a watch. You look up into the internet, you find a 5K watch, yet every time you just get on average 2K per month, and then so you decide to get some Fuliza somewhere and you get the watch, but at the end of it all, you're sponsoring a liability. You see, if it's a loan or a debt or whatever you call it, provided it's some money that you've borrowed, it should be something that grows you. It must be an investment for debt to work. That's what Dave Ramsey usually says, that whenever you're borrowing, let it not fund your liability. That's what also Adnan Sani usually says, the Ghanaian billionaire. He says that whatever debt you get, try and make it to grow yourself. If it's maybe a business that you want to open, of which many youth are considering, however small it is, let the loan be towards that, not towards feeding you, not towards buying the new clothes, the new shoes, or looking nice, or that new perfume that you just heard about. Let it be, if it's a business to open, get the loan, open the business. If it's maybe investments, you've done some good research, you've seen somewhere that maybe it's an MMF. You see, maybe in some few months I can recoup back the loan I borrowed. Then that's good. I believe loan is for investment, not for liability. That's one of the mistakes that many youth consider not to follow. Yeah. So
many people are guilty on that, because you'll hear someone say that Yes, I'm living beyond my means. I mean, I need to work to afford my lifestyle, so they go beyond what they can just to afford the lifestyle fit in the society, just what you have said. Now, when it comes to young people beginning businesses, I've had an encounter with several youths. They begin businesses, and then after some time, they're like, this is not working for me. So how do you know the difference between you're wasting time on a business and you need to be patient? How do you differentiate the two?
I would say that it's good to do a business with figures. Of course, when you start a business, you don't expect it will give you profits next month or 2 months or maybe even 3 months or 4 months, depending on the type of the business. Therefore, I would say that when you start a new business as a young person or whoever you are, is that put your figures. Know what are the expenses of every month, what is the income. Compare it to the figures of the next month. Is the gap narrowing between the expenses and the income? If it continues to narrow, then I think you're on the right path. But if it continues to increase, then there is a point to worry about. Therefore, do business, but have figures.
Is there something like overcrowded? Because some say that there is more than enough space for everyone, and then you'll find several businesses, so many people beginning the same business. Could that be a challenge hindering growth in the current business models?
Well, depending with the type of business, I think there is always a space for every business, or rather for every investor. It is not necessary that it is overcrowded, because you find, why is the other person, a new person starting the same business within the same locality? Do research. Once you do the research and you find out how big is that market, can it accommodate another business, another investor? If it can, then I believe every business has got its own customers, has got its own market share. How big is the market share for that kind of business? That's, I think, we need to do business also, start business also, after we have carried out some research. You don't start just because others have started, or maybe there isn't a similar business that you want to start in the locality. Why are there no business like that? But once you do some feasibility study, then you're able to know the possibility of this business to succeed in this place. So let's do research, let's do feasibility study. The number of business at times does not count, depending with how big, how deep is the market.
So the problem mostly is with the young people just casually beginning things without making it a professional. Whether it's a sole proprietorship, you just begin it. Elijah?
Yeah, so concerning that, you've actually started my point. The kind of research that he's talking about is you have to see, in this market that I'm trying to join myself into, there are so many businesses of the like that I want to start. What is their weakness? What are their weaknesses? Or what is it that they are not satisfying for the customers? That is where you come into the business. You don't just start a business with the mind of, I want to make money. Of course, there's the money aspect, but you have to go there as an entrepreneur and say, what are the problems that these customers are facing? And even with all these other businesses that have already started and running, what are they not solving? I believe that's where the niche comes in, and that's where you get the sustainability, or rather the longevity in starting a business. You won't say, my business is not working. Provided you're solving a solution, you are guaranteed that your business will churn profit well. Yeah.
All right, well said. Now, still on you, Elijah.
Yes.
There comes a time when you need to upscale, you need to save, but then what you're having barely keeps you going. So you're living on survival mode. How do you achieve financial stability on this? Especially, this happens mostly, it affects mostly the boy child, because you see, for the girl child, will be like, you're calling home, mom, mimi nalala njaa, and your mom will be like, acha nikutafutie 200 nikweke. But for a man, you see, you grow up and you're like, I need to be stable. So you have much expectations from the society, but then what you're getting, it barely keeps you alive. So how do you achieve stability with this little thing that you have, bear in mind there is pressure from around.
I love the way you've given me the good context to because it really fits with me well. This is something that I recently started back some few weeks ago. I just looked into my finances and said, yes, I'm well off in terms of me calling or whatever finances I'm getting from wherever, but I sat down with myself and asked, so can I continue just making calls? I said no. So I looked into my expenses and I said, let me focus on what I eat or what I spend each day and see where the waste comes in, or where the unnecessary spending comes in. I believe once somebody looks into his expenses at the micro level, not at the macro level where you say, on average, I receive this money. No, you look into what you spend every day. And I believe those little savings that you're going to make from reducing the cost that you're making will surmount to something big. And if you stay consistent into that habit, well, I believe after a few months or just some little years, you'll get to have something that is enough to say, maybe now I can begin to think of multiplying the money that I already saved.
Mm-hmm. I get that, because when you talk about food, I think about the mistakes I do. Sometimes you're like, let me just get fast food, it's easier, I will not wash utensils. Yeah. But then you realize you've spent like 300 shillings on lunch. If you were to cook in the house, you'd spend probably at most 150 because you probably have all the ingredients. I think that's brilliant. Now, Pastor, give us a secret. Your generation used to pay fees, munajenga, munanunua plot, you do all these things. You take your siblings to school, like you're paying their fees, like you're doing all these things with a very, very little amount of salary. What's the secret?
Thank you. I think as mentioned, kuna kitu mentioned hapo earlier, is about what kind level or standard life that you are living. One, are you living within your means? Because today, our young people, or the generation of today, it's living beyond their means. And that is what that thing is making now, like our young daughters, our young sisters, the young ladies, now they enter into other things. Now I think that's why you're having story of unasikia mubaba something, because there is a life style they want to maintain, which is not godly. Now, using means which are not godly. That's what I mean. Now, in that older generation, it was about living within your means, planning that money. It's what have enabled the older generation to educate 5 kids, 6 kids. These people have built. These people, maybe they have got their own family car. They are doing all those things. Maybe they started a business, family business. It's about living within the means. And as we have said, budgeting is very important. When you don't have a budget, now this is the point that you are able to say no to the helping which may be requested upon you, because you don't have a budget. But you have a budget. You may be having, let's say, like 100,000. But if it is budgeted, that money is not available. Mm-hmm. But when it is not budgeted, though there are needs to be met, that money is just available. It can go to any need. Mm-hmm. Therefore, budgeting is very important. Living within the means is very important. And also to have now that financial resilience. This is where now maybe as an individual or as a family you need to sit down and know that we have got many needs, not only today, but even the days to come. What else can we be able to do that we're able to meet the financial obligations? Maybe now we can think of, if I'm employed, what other side hustle can I do? What other small business can I do? If it is maybe the wife with the pale nyumbani, maybe if she does not have a job, what other business can she be able to do? As you now start creating more streams of income, more income avenues, to be able to complement that whatever you are having. And this needs to be planned as a long-term or medium-term thing, because now you don't start a business today, tomorrow you are reaping the profits. There's something which need to be planned. After you do those feasibility studies, maybe I was talking about, after you see all that, now what business can you start? What other side hustles can you add? As a matter of fact, the time that we are living in now, one source of income is not sufficient to maintain or to meet the needs, and that's why we keep on having financial pressure, financial stress now and then when emergencies come, because now you cannot be able to create an emergency fund that you are talking about if already you cannot be able to meet your basic financial obligations. Therefore, there's a need to start some other, to see how can I be able to start some other incomes, no matter how small they are, then you can be able to do that. Therefore, budgeting, prioritizing, which one comes first. Having a good shopping at the back of your car, go and visit your people, or paying the school fees.
All right, I wouldn't feel good if we end this without me asking you. We've had cases where someone anachukua shamba, anapea pastor. Someone has not even paid school fees for their kids, but then they take a huge chunk of their money and take it to church. So it's like you barely eat, but you're focused on, I want to give this to God, I want to take this to church, but then you can barely survive as a person. And this is something that is shifting the narratives, especially of the young people who have shifted how they view tithes. Some will say that instead of taking this to church, let me take this to someone who is suffering at the street. So how does offering affect us in terms of our finances?
I believe, one, if you take like a tithing, it's biblical and it is a command. And God does not ask you to give what you don't have. He only asks you to give after He has already given you. In your budgeting is where now even this wants to be budgeted. If you're earning, let's say like 10,000, 1,000 is for the tithe. Maybe offering is you to decide how much you can give as an offering. It's only tithe that God puts a cut, puts an amount. And also remember, there is when we give, we activate more of God's blessings. But also as a pastor, I wouldn't expect that happy somebody is bringing me like a title deed. Yet this person really has got a sick mother or father up country. As a pastor also, I should be able to understand my people. What are their needs? How can I also help them? I believe we are not only called to receive, but also to give. Not only the word of God, but also to bless our people materially. Because I've seen a situation, to some extent I agree with you, because I've seen a situation whereby maybe the pastor is living a very flashy life, big cars, but when you get to that house, there are some people who are sleeping hungry. I don't advocate for that. If as a pastor, you have been blessed enough to have a lot from your people, why don't you go back to your people who has got what you need? Nani ana mtoto hajaenda shule, how can I help? Just also help them, uplift them. It's a kind of a win-win situation. But it's not for us to take. Remember, even in the old times when the tithes were taken there, God was saying that to bring food in my storehouse, that there may be food. Food for who? To be given to those who don't have. Yeah.
All right. That's brilliant. Now, back to Elijah. Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And what secret do you have that will make you get to that place? Please share with us.
That's a wonderful question, and I'm happy to answer it. In the next 10 years, I'm seeing myself managing self-made companies. That's because there are strategies that I'm deploying for myself. And those secrets that they are at a foundational level, I can say so, because like I said, so I just started some few weeks ago. So I look into my finances and I see, because these things will require money in the future and even currently. So I look into how can I grow myself I've invested in a lot of MMFs. Okay, not a lot, but strategic MMFs like Ndovu Fund. I recently left ZD Market Fund, but I'm considering CIC, which is a very nice MMF. So I look into the MMFs. It's not actually a difficult thing. Once you get the accounts, it's just a matter of funding it and getting the interest monthly. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, so that in the long term, I can get to have a substantial amount of money that I can then consider to multiply. Where can I invest more to get more money from it, like T-bills or T-bonds, whichever. So actually these things, as a youth now, contextually, it's not that it's meant to be preserved for people who are 40 plus years. It's something that you can act now. It's something that when you act now, once even in 10 years to come, that's about, if you are starting 20 years, that's 30 years. You can get to have good money, and you would say, oh really, so I didn't have to wait until I get 40 years or 50 years so that I can enjoy my millions. You get to enjoy your millions early enough. So that's, I believe, that's my secret, and I believe everyone can achieve it, provided that they see into their finances and get to know, how can I multiply it. And one thing I can add, don't always resort into debt financing if it's not important yet. Let it be the last resort, because debt can really be a pain in our finances. It can really eat our finances, because one of the things that really makes debts unpredictable are interest rates, because they keep on fluctuating. So you may have borrowed at 12%, but yes, you'll pay back at 12%, but you see, the fact that it keeps on changing, it really makes it volatile. Yeah, so let debt be the last resort, and I believe those are some of the things, once applied and once sticked to, and also having a vision and a purpose, like I initially started, you can be able to focus on achieving that. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Elijah. Now, Pastor, as we wrap this up,
yes, please.
Looking back through the years from when you were a teenager, growing up, the businesses you ventured into, please share with us a secret that you've discovered. Let me use discovered, because those are many years. The secret that you've discovered that is that helps people get to financial stability earlier, or it may be something that you regret, maybe you did or you did not do, that you feel like it will help a young person somewhere who wants to achieve financial stability faster.
Thank you. I think regrets are more, because I wish we had this kind of information, kind of these forums and this awareness before, at an early age. Because I think I've ventured into a number of businesses which didn't last for long. One secret or one mistake that one should not do, is you start the business today and you are eating from the same business the next month. You have started a business today, you are paying the rent for the business premises, you are paying rent for your own house, you are staying from the same business. And remember, only we start with a minimal capital. Then that business won't last. Even if it is in a good location, even if it is a good business, it won't last, because you are eating more than the profits you're even getting. You are eating into the capital. Now, that's one thing people should not do when they start a business. How should we start that business? Let me say, business succeeds or fails on the first day you open it. That first day. What do we mean by that? How do you start it? For instance, if you start a business with so much overheads, every month the overheads are so high, that business may be destined to fail. I would advise, and I would advocate, if you start a business, prepare for it, that maybe in the next 3 months after I've started it, you don't take any coin from that business. Continue funding it. Continue paying the workers if they are there from other sources. Continue paying the rent for the premises from other sources, until you build now some good money that you can be able to put it back. That way, I believe business can be able to start. Another thing is that don't finance your business if you have to get some outside financing, a debt or a loan. The way my brother said, don't finance it 100% from loan. At least maybe 10% to finance it can be able, but this is better But when you finance it like 100%, then also there is that risk. He has talked about the frustration of the interest. There are also things which may be beyond your control. Like 2020, when Corona came, or how many people have closed their businesses because Corona came? How many people are in debts? How many people are, let's say, maybe they're being taken to court? They're not able to pay back the loans they had taken. Why? Because some other natural calamities came which worked against their business, no matter what strategy they had. If it was now loan financed, I'm telling you, there's a big problem. But if you maybe you financed it from your own savings, money from other sources, other incomes, you may lose that money, but you are still there through for more money. Therefore, let's start businesses which are not 100% financed. Let's not start eating from the same business the next month after we start it. That way we can be able to do something.
All right, I love that. Thank you, gentlemen, for making time for us this morning. My director ananiambia hapa muda wetu umeisha. I'm sure for our viewers back at home, you wished for this to continue. Getting to listen to free knowledge is something that is not so cheap, because you get free airtime, free years of experience. I'm sure when they're looking for you for coaching, they will not come empty-handed. But right now, you're able to get all this for free. So that has been the conversation on faith, money, and the future, especially for the young people. And this is relevant even for those who are older. You've heard Pastor say that generosity is something that he has been fighting with. So it doesn't matter the age that you are. Money, faith, and finances, depending on the God that you worship, whether it's Allah, Buddha, whatever that you worship, whether it's the traditional gods, just keep your faith and money. They go hand in hand. And also one thing you should take from this conversation, don't forget the blesser. So that has been on the launch. Thank you, gentlemen, for making time for us.